Welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television, do it all over again the following episode, wrangle tornadoes. My name is Colton Brown, and joining me, it's Andrew Meadows.
How you doing?
I'm pretty good. Pretty good.
That's not an accent, actually, in Twisters. I don't know where that came from. But I am here. I'm here to talk about Twisters. And,
Do some twisting
do
and
some
shouting.
twisting. Do some chasing, some riding.
Some wrangling.
Wrangling, that's the word I'm looking for.
You're not here to face your fears. You're here to do a little something else with them. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. Yes.
All right. Very good. Very good. We are here to talk about Twisters. Yes. So we are kind of in the midst of a lot of things coming out all around the same time, and we're trying to figure out, all right, let's try to cover these, one by one if we can. And Twisters is kind of next up in sequence. So we obviously did Long Legs last week. The legs of that episode were longer than anticipated. Hopefully a little shorter on this one, but we'll see. We've still got The Acolyte and Deadpool and Wolverine on tap, so don't worry. We should hopefully be circling back around to those at some point in the near future. But Twisters. Twisters is the topic of the day, of the episode. I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited to get into it. It's a movie that I think, it's we'll get into it obviously later, but it's doing quite well for itself. Pretty entertaining, if nothing else. We'll have some fuller thoughts, obviously.
Maybe it's a summer blockbuster movie.
But it's a great blockbuster, like summer blockbuster kind of movie. Like, in terms of what it is, it's like a legacy sequel. Okay, great. But just like, a 2-hour sort of romp sort of thing of fucking people chasing tornadoes, trying to conquer them and whatever. Like, it's like the quintessential summer blockbuster type of movie. And I'm not going to comment on the quality just yet, but for what it is, I appreciate it that it's just something that is just, it's just a summer blockbuster. That's what it is,
We're going to cover this year's summer blockbuster. That's what we're doing.
Right. Exactly.
And that's cool. That's what we do. We cover movies.
Yeah. That's what right. Sometimes TV shows, but mostly movies. A little
film
shorter,
and
a little
television,
easier. Film and television, that's right. We are inclusive, indeed. But I have a fun fact about Twisters. Since we're talking about it a lot, I might as well get into some fun facts if you're up for that. So, a few different directions I could have gone with this, honestly, because it's a movie that's obviously visual effects heavy, but there's a lot of practical effects to help achieve that. But I'll save some of that thought for non-spoilers later. I'm going to talk about something else right now as my fun fact about Twisters, and that is that once upon a time, we were going to get a very, very different version of this movie. So kind of going back to 2020, if everyone can walk with me back to those dark times, I apologize for bringing up that year. It's a naughty word, I think. But a man named Joseph Kosinski, who you would know as the director of Top Gun, Maverick, Only the Brave, Oblivion, Tron, Legacy, and maybe another movie we're going to talk about when we get to trailers later, met with Amblin Entertainment, Kennedy Marshall Company, and pitched a follow-up to Twister, the 1996 film, about a new generation of storm chasers. And then, boom, that basically led to them bringing in some writers to make this sequel. Kosinski was going to direct at that point. And interestingly enough, at the same time, there had been plans for a different version of Twisters, or at least a Twister sequel that maybe could have been called something else. Who's to say? With Helen Hunt involved. Helen Hunt, of course, being one of the stars of the original. And so she wanted to direct a sequel to the original that she had co-written with Raphael Casal and David Diggs, who they had all worked together on the TV series Blind Spotting. But the studio said, nope, we don't want to do that. And they went with the other one. But the pitch for that one was that it would have followed all black and brown storm chasers, members of a rocket science club at a historically black college and university. Which again, very, very different pitch. Different sort of thing than obviously what we got here, which is maybe that would have pushed too many buttons. Perhaps it would have been too woke, DEI, blah blah blah. How many things you want to throw at it that would upset people. This is perhaps a little bit more general audience friendly, regardless of your stance on people's skin color. shall we say. So yeah, this is kind of where we ended up, is Twisters kind of happening. Joseph Kosinski obviously did drop out at some point because he, again, needed to direct a little something else that we'll talk about. But they brought in Lee Isaac Chung in his place, who prior to this directed Minari, which is a banger of a movie, and I would highly recommend people watch that if they haven't before. And a very different movie from Twisters. Do not walk into Minari expecting a Twisters-esque type of movie.
What kind of movie would that be? That'd be devastating. He'd fucking weep. Tornado comes through and wrecks the local family.
Pretty much just be a very sad movie. It would be my guess for how that would go. So anyway, there you go. There's my fun fact on Twisters. We could have had, I don't know, something very, very different, but
well, you'd probably have a different soundtrack. That's for sure.
Yes, probably.
I've heard from I've heard everyone in my local walks has been praising Twisters.
Blasting Twisters, the soundtrack.
Yes.
Got we got Luke Combs, Miranda Lambert. Who else we got? Jelly Roll. I think Jelly Roll's on there.
Jelly Roll, Tyler Childers.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay.
Big
Definitely
country
others.
album.
Big
country album.
Yes, very big. Big country. My good Lord. This is a 92-minute country compilation album.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's pretty intense. Kane Brown.
Yeah, he's in there. Yeah.
Thomas Rhett. Mm-hmm. Shania Twain. Shania Twain's in here, apparently. How about that? Anyway, yeah. Twisters the album. Sorry, not Twisters the soundtrack, or whatever I called it before. I was wrong.
Twisters the album.
Twisters the album's on vinyl. Buy it on vinyl if you want. We talk about that when we talk about the movie itself. Maybe the soundtrack is not just completely separated from the movie. Maybe some of those songs made their way into the movie. Yeah. But yeah, we'll get back to Twisters. I will say, thankfully, in terms of news and everything for this episode, we got the sad shit out of the way on long legs on our last episode. Well, what a segue. Our first headline. It's not someone that's leaving us this time, or has left us. It's a television series. And it's a television series that I don't know about you, but it's near and dear to my heart. After 2 seasons,
I stuck around with for
after 2 seasons at Paramount Plus,
yeah.
Halo is no longer with us. Unfortunately, Halo has been brutally
Halo's
murdered.
been given a Halo. It's it. It's done.
That's right. So Halo is done. Canceled. Paramount Plus says, no.
We're done with this shit.
No more. No more of the big budget series based on the popular Xbox video game franchise. We shan't be making more of it. We shan't be doing it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you watch any of season 2?
No, I did not.
It's almost like season 1 did nothing to bring you back for more. It just strung you along with the promise of, oh, is it going to get good this time? No, still shit. Nope, still pretty bad. I did watch the first episode of season 2, and I think I might have talked about it. However, it probably was 2 or 3 months ago at this point that I did that, maybe even longer. It was like kind of the same. Like, it felt the same.
You
like,
would
it
be
wasn't,
sticking around.
It was like probably equivalent to like the mediocre to okay to, decently good parts of the first season. Like, it was never as bad as parts of the first season were, but I'm like, this is not a different show. This is the same show. Fundamentally, it's the same show. Everything's kind of the same. Master Chief ain't fucking as much in this particular episode, but the whole vibe of it was just
Master
identical, So I can't say that I'm too bummed about this. Halo series could have been awesome. Should have been awesome.
Yeah, should be awesome.
Seems like it's a type of thing that is tailor-made for like a good TV adaptation or even a film adaptation, which I think they were trying to do for a long time there. So I think that, there's still potential for the Halo as a franchise to still exist in a live-action space, but at a certain point, it's probably best to cut your losses and there's too much baggage for this one.
Just make a fucking awesome Halo movie.
Right. One that actually depicts the events of Halo, the video game.
Yeah,
because I feel like
awesome.
It was like 2
alien
seasons of like
movie.
build up to this like we saw like a Halo and a Vision in season 1. I'm like, well, why is this show called fucking Halo? And it's like, like you're going to spend so much time just building up to the damn thing, and then we live in the streaming
it gets
world where
before you
if people aren't watching
anything.
your shit, we're going to fucking cancel it because we're not spending millions of dollars on something that no one's going to watch, that critics don't like, that fans of the franchise don't like. Like, who is this for? Why are we dropping stupid amounts of money in this? And so I think it's a totally fair and understandable decision. Makes me feel better about not sticking with season 2 and just giving up, because I'm just like, well, I have no fucking interest now. But I think I'm better off. I think we're better off for it, right? Like, because like even if it was better than season 1,
he says, "Hey, you watch lots of stuff, right?" I'm like, yeah. Well, I watch a fair amount of things. I don't watch as much as I would like, but I watch a fair amount. Why? He's like, "You seen Halo?" I'm like, yeah, I've seen Halo. It's like, dude, I ran through the first season, and I'm like halfway through the second season. I watched it all weekend. I went through that shit quick. Yeah? He's like, yeah, it's badass, dude. Like,
well, we found the audience. There, and then, there it is.
And then this the headline came. I was like, hey, dude, you hear they canceled Halo? He's like, oh man, I'm pissed. Oh man, I can't believe they do that. And it's nice not to be on that side of the coin,
right. You don't have to deal with the bitter disappointment of a thing you like no longer being made.
It's not like
we get to be on the side of the fence who just makes fun of it. Great, this is good.
Yeah, right.
I like this. Anyway, R.I.P.
In memoriam section. In
memoriam. That's right. It is. You're right. It is an in memoriam section. It's not. Headline was too disparaging. So R.I.P. to Halo, the series, and good riddance, some might say. But fear not, we have other headlines that maybe will pick up the energy and bring some warmth and joy back into our space. So Jurassic World 4 is the thing that's happening. I think we talked about it probably last when it was revealed that Gareth Edwards had joined to direct Jurassic World 4. Okay. Gareth Edwards, obviously known for Rogue One, the 2014 Godzilla, and most recently The Creator last year, whenever that was. Maybe last year? Feels like last year. I think it was last year. Good fit, big visual guy. Doing big dinosaur movie, sequel to the Jurassic World, whatever the last one was called, Dominion. It's locusts, but actually sometimes there's dinosaurs, and sometimes the dinosaurs are in the world. So it's actually a proper Jurassic World now, apparently. But I bring it up because we have a lot more new information on it since we probably last talked about it, including the cast. So the cast is going to be led by Scarlett Johansson, taking the lead role. Jeff Goldblum is back as Dr. Ian Malcolm. So you two dig up dinosaurs, huh? And they will be joined by Jonathan Bailey, Rupert Friend, Manuel Garcia Rolfo, and 2-time Academy Award winner, and sometimes voices Blade and post-credits scenes for Eternals, but doesn't Blade in any other respect, Mahershala Ali.
Okay.
So there's your cast. The movie is shooting right now. It is filming all around the world, UK, Malta, Thailand, and it is going to be released July 2nd, 2025. It is less than a year away. So pretty fast turnaround on this guy. So I think it should be done filming in a month or so, and then they gotta animate those fucking dinosaurs because they probably ain't doing them all practically. Let's put it that way. But Gareth Edwards seems to know how to make visual effects work even on lower budgets, so he's probably got a significant, sizable sum to play with for this one. So there's Jurassic World 4. It was reported to be titled back in February Jurassic City, which kind of feels like a step back, kind of wonky. But more recently, trademarks have been filed for Jurassic World Rebirth, which is probably going to be the title. So there you have it. What do you think? What do you think about Jurassic World 4?
Enough? We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I mean
Gareth Edwards, new direction, starts to the cast. Is it enough to make a compelling
maybe
Jurassic
it's
Park,
right.
or-
Maybe it's a breath of fresh air for a franchise that desperately needs it. Maybe.
Yeah.
Hard to say. Too early to know, right? I mean, promising that it's got different creatives involved, I think, including the writer, David Koepp, who wrote the original Jurassic Park, not the book, but the adaptation, as well as The Lost World. So, they're bringing back some old, injecting some new, and again, basically be, set in this kind of new era of Jurassic where dinosaurs and humans are trying to coexist, at least. Apparently the plot, which I guess I don't know that we've talked about this, is apparently going to be 3 adults and 3 teens who get stuck on an island, on the island it calls it.
Okay.
But maybe it will break free from there at some point so you can get bigger scale in the 3rd act. I don't know. But here you go. Yeah. So Jurassic World 4. Probably one of the classic cases of give me a trailer and then we can talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let me see what it looks like. Let's see.
But I feel like between the cast and again, the creatives involved, I feel like, all right, I'm not going to get excited about it. You know what I mean? But hey, there's potential. There is potential that they're not giving me news that I'm just like, oh, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like that is at least a decent enough start. So any thoughts from you? Any other thoughts?
Yeah, no,
Jurassic?
I mean, I think it's got the right director in place. I think a start to the cast is a good move. If you're bringing back the guy that wrote the original, I think that's good.
Sure.
It sounds interesting. But I've been,
You've been burned before.
I've been burned before, right? So
It's very franchise.
exactly. So let me see a trailer.
Yeah, Jurassic World 4, aka Jurassic Park 7, which they could call it that if they chose to as well.
I'll make it a Fast and Furious situation.
Yeah, and I don't mean Jurassic Park 7. I mean Jurassic World 4 / Jurassic Park 7. That could be the title.
Oh, incredible.
Or colon Jurassic Park 7. Or it could be Jurassic World Rebirth - a Jurassic Park story.
Oh, there it is.
A Jurassic Park saga. We'll see. You want to talk some trailers?
Yeah. What do we got? What do we have on tap?
We have 6 trailers on tap, and we will begin with a movie coming to cinemas September 20th from Apple, from the fine folks over at Apple Original Films. This is a movie called Wolves. Not wolves, wolves. There is a distinction. If you listen closely, you'll be able to hear it, or at least you should be able to hear it. George Clooney, Brad Pitt are here. They're professional fixers that cover up crimes and make sure that crime scenes are squeaky clean, no evidence left behind, that sort of thing. Looks like they end up on the same job and shenanigans ensue. That seems to be what I'm getting from this trailer. It's writer and director John Watts, who most recently did the Spider-Man trilogy for Marvel Studios, Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. And prior to that, I think did stuff a little bit closer to this, smaller scale. No Clooney's and Pitts or anything like that involved. But yeah, this doesn't feel like Spider-Man is more my point. But what do you think? What do you think about Wolves? Does it intrigue you?
Wolf's was the guy's name in Pulp Fiction Silver Fox or Fox?
Fox.
Was it Wolf?
Maybe, yeah.
I think it was Fox, wasn't it?
Let's find out. There's always a way to know
the internet.
these things.
Yeah, the internet's a powerful tool.
Winston Wolfe, Harvey Keitel. Yeah.
Winston
right.
Wolfe.
Because you're right. There you go. That's. I guess that checks out. That's the origin of Wolves.
Who is also a fixer. So I wonder if we're drawing inspiration from Pulp Fiction. I don't know.
Perhaps. Maybe it's a backdoor sequel.
There is
it's all connected.
a sequence in this movie where the 2 people are talking to a guy who's scared out of his mind. And I don't know if he was scared out of his mind, but they're talking to a guy in the back seat, center frame. I'm seeing some Tarantino inspirations here. Maybe I'm just projecting, but I don't know. I think it looks like fun. I like Brad Pitt. I like George Clooney. I like John Watts. Yeah, I'm here for it. It looks stylish. It looks cool. It looks funny. And I'm seeing inspiration from Tarantino, which is always it's a good well of inspiration.
So you're right. If you're going to pull inspiration from anywhere, that's a solid place to look. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I mean, Clooney and Pitt on screen together usually, like they just have good chemistry, obviously. And
they did those 3 heist
well,
movies, right?
the Oceans trilogy, Burn After Reading as well.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah,
so it's kind of just like, yeah, I mean, it's a good pairing, and tonally it seems to be kind of in a realm of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang or Nice Guys, like a Shane Black kind of deal, which looks very fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I think it, between the cast, between, like I said, John Watts writing and directing, and just the sense of this movie I got from the 2.5 minute trailer, I think it could be quite a bit of fun. Is kind of how I feel about it. So September 20th, we I don't know what else is coming out around then, but maybe Wolves is something that brings us to
Apple
the cinema.
TV's,
We'll see.
Looks like they make some pretty decent shit. I haven't seen a whole
they've
lot
got
of
a pretty
Apple
good track
TVs.
record. Yeah, I think movie wise, I mean, because Killers of the Flower Moon, I believe it was them as well.
They had that one show with that one guy in it that you like from that with the bow ties.
From the one show. Oh yes, it was Severance. Severance is supposed to be pretty good. I think I got there. Severance, starring Adam Scott from Party Down. I think is that's the connection we're trying to make there. I haven't watched Severance. I think coming back for a second season very soon, possibly this year, early next year. I can't remember. But yeah, I've heard that's really good. I think TV wise, they're like fucking crushing it. Like I think 9 out of 10 shows they put on there are very critically well received. I think movies have been a little more hit and miss, I guess, overall. But I feel like recently they've done pretty well with stuff. So
they certainly look well made. Like they look
totally.
They have a look.
It looks like a proper ass movie. Which is good. Sometimes you watch trailers for things and you're like, is this real? Is this a real movie? So I mean, I'm not that I would talk about anything like maybe the next trailer or anything like that. But,
this looks like a proper ass movie. I also really like the logo treatment too, by the way.
They did do Argyle though, which you watched part of on a cruise maybe. So
yeah.
Again, hit and miss, right?
It's true. Forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Wolves.
Maybe September 20th.
Wolves.
We'll see what happens. That's Wolves. But speaking of movies that do not look like real ass movies, oh boy, we've got an official trailer for Red 1, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Chris Evans. The Christmas movie coming out just in time for Thanksgiving. This, buddy, where to begin with this one? I mean, I don't want to cut off your legs, I guess. Let me just ask you straight up. What do you think about Red 1?
I think Red 1 looks like, this looks to me like somebody made a pitch about like, hey, we can sell some cool toys. During Christmas time, we can get all the kids in on it. We can get a big family fun. This is a cash grab. We can make some money this holiday season.
Sure.
And that's the vibe I got. This movie looks like movie looks like doo-doo. Big doo-doo. Big.
You said big doo-doo this time, Red 1. You said big doo-doo this time, Dwayne and Chris.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, it's on Amazon. He's getting some of that They're all getting that Bezos money.
The Bezos money, yeah. It's just getting redistributed to people that definitely need lots more money. They definitely don't have enough already. So,
I don't. Does this get released in theaters? This to me looks like a direct to DVD. Back in those days.
This is right. I said, this doesn't look like a real fucking movie, and I think that's true. But in these days of streaming being Paramount, this looks like the most Netflix movie to Netflix about. Yet it's not. You know what I mean? Like this is a quintessential, Netflix dumping stupid amounts of money into a property that absolutely does not need stupid amounts of money to be pumped into it. And no Netflix involved. Like I said, Amazon, MGM, theatrical release, probably pretty quick hook from theaters. Although I don't know, they are they going to want to keep it in theaters until Christmas because it's a fucking Christmas movie? It's like, I don't know, man. I think other things are coming out around then that
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu was definitely gonna cut its legs off. Yeah, this looks brutal. I mean, absolutely fucking brutal. In every which way, the costumes.
Well, I know where the money's
look,
coming from. Then, so, $7
Enlighten me.
Productions.
Okay.
Is actually owned by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Okay, so he's just paying them. He's taking on a producer role so that he can pay himself money to be in shitty movies. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yeah.
Some sort of racket that he's got going. Here's.
Garcia.
I mean, I might feel bad about saying this right now, but I think the odds of us actually covering this for an episode are probably slim.
Yeah. Right.
You know, these days when we have to pick and choose and be a little bit more selective, you know, about what we actually spend our time talking about, something tells me this doesn't make the cut. So I'm going to put it here where it could be a fun fact. But Dwayne Johnson apparently paid $50 million for his involvement, paid himself $50 million to be in this shit movie. But the more interesting thing, and this is rumor, there's a note on the Wikipedia thing that says this has since been disputed. But filming apparently had to be done around Johnson, who was an average of 7 to 8 hours late to filming and missed several days of shooting. These delays reportedly increased the budget by $50 million to a total of $250 million. So, you know, maybe Team Ven, you know, who's the real drama queen? I mean, probably both of them. I think it's two drama queens in the whole Ven versus The Rock dispute. The answer is they both suck. But yeah, if that's true, what are you doing? What are you doing, Dwayne?
I don't know.
What are you doing here?
I don't know how this gets made. Like
because it's like very.
I mean, I guess just lots of money. That's how it gets made.
Big polar bear guys, Krampus. The snowmen, you know, Jack Frost monsters at the end. Yeah, I don't know either.
It's incredible.
I don't know. There's I don't know if there's. I mean, again, I've already said that it's like, all right, this looks like a fake movie. This looks like a Netflix movie. It's a good thing WB doesn't have the hands on this movie because this is fucking getting buried in a vault somewhere. If they did, be like, no, we can't we wouldn't even put a trailer out for this. Like, it must be buried. We are putting it right next to Coyote versus Acme. This is done. Donezo. No one will see this. No one will know of this. Anyone involved in this has to sign an NDA and be sworn to secrecy about the existence of this fucking thing. Anyway, looks pretty good. So I'm excited for it. It's November 15th, Red One. I'll let you watch it though. I'll let you watch it first, and you can
watch
tell me
it
how
at
it is.
home. No, I can't watch it at home.
No, you'll take baby. Take baby to see. Baby's first big day out to the theater. Baby's big day at the theater will be Red One. Maybe not.
Yikes.
We'll see. All right. Well, let's move on to the next trailer. The next two are a little more serious fare. This next one is a film called Lee, coming to theaters September 27th here in the States. Stars Kate Winslet. Actually, a pretty good overall cast. Josh O'Connor, Andrea Riseborough, Andy Samberg, Alexander Skarsgård, and Marion Cotillard. I included it here because I didn't know anything about it. Just happened to kind of find it when I was poking around for news and new trailers and stuff like that. But it's really interesting because following on the heels of Civil War earlier this year, you know, we were kind of just like, a war journalism movie. What a novel concept. And then of course we got some messaging on YouTube recommending I think Brazil or recommending what I gotta find out what that movie was called.
It was that Roger Stone movie, wasn't it?
Yes, that sounds right. Not Roger Stone, Oliver Stone maybe.
Oliver Stone. Who's Roger Stone? Is that made up man?
No, I think Roger Stone. I feel like he's a Trump guy. Yeah, Roger Stone's.
He's the goofy guy with the weird ass glasses.
Yeah,
that guy, the lawyer.
Let's see here. Salvador. It was called Salvador.
That's
all right.
It.
There we go. Not Brazil. So anyway, yes, you know, I figured, hey, another war journalism movie, 2 in 2024. What are the odds, right? So that's why I included it here, and I'm curious to see what you think about Lee. Does this trailer do anything for you?
Yeah, this movie looks really good. I like Kate Winslet. I think she's a pretty awesome actress.
Sure. Yeah.
It's got a good cast. It looks, and in much of the ways that this looks like opposite, the opposite kind of movie that Civil War was.
Totally.
You know, this movie looks like
very, very different.
Very
the
much
similarities
stapled on its
end
characters
at war journalism. You know, that's kind of where
character piece and kind of deal. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm excited about this. This looks really good.
Yeah, that's so too. You know, it just something about this kind of movie.
Ellen Kurris.
It just feels like a very good story, like something that I think, as I recall, I think Kate Winslet was kind of very much pushing to be made, and obviously now starring as this woman. But yeah, Civil War is obviously this what if sort of scenario, and this is very much just a look back at our history. And I think an interesting, like sort of thing of like, Oppenheimer obviously is a recent example of a movie that was like great, very historical, but like most of us know a thing or two about Oppenheimer. A lot of women in history get completely, excluded from textbooks and stuff like that. So someone like Lee Miller is someone who we don't know anything about. So
no.
So that's interesting. Interesting to have a movie like this, like a biopic like this, shining a light on someone who I can say I knew nothing about, and hopefully it does a good job of telling her story. So September 27th, we're getting Lee, but in December we are getting a story of someone else, so another historical figure who was famous for doing other things like songwriting, singing, stuff like that. A man by the name of Bob Dylan. And this movie is called A Complete Unknown. It's a look at a young Bob Dylan, 19 years old. And wouldn't you know it, Old Timmy's here to play Bob Dylan.
Damn it, Timmy.
He's Wonka. He's Paul. He's in other things. He's done other things, right? He was a Little Woman. And Little Women. No, that's not right. He didn't play a little woman, but he was in that movie. I can tell you that. He was Lady Bird in Lady Bird. No, that's not right. But he was in that movie. He was a cannibal in that one movie. One of the movies, bones and all. He's eating people and shit, probably.
What the fuck movie was that?
It was the movie that Luca Guadagnino made after he made the movie with the actual cannibal Army Hammer. So he's inspired. Okay. He's inspired by his real life choices.
Man. I haven't seen that.
But Timmy, Timmy's on the up and up, man, and here he is. He's playing Bob Dylan,
dude.
Playing Bob Dylan, and from what it sounds like, he's doing some singing. He's got the fucking kooky hair and everything. Like he's going for it. He's going all in on being Mr. Dylan.
Of course he does. So. He's all in on everything. I can't think. I mean, dude, what a guy.
It's true.
How he is kinda. I don't think it's a hot take. I mean, he's got to be one of the most like talented young actors. Like, how old is Timmy?
Timmy, let's take a quick glance. Timmy's 28. Timmy's like a 28-year-old man.
Years old.
He's still got a youthful appearance. I mean, 28 is not old, obviously, but he's, he could pass for younger if he needs to.
And his career is just banger after banger.
Yeah, pretty much. And he's got a lot of career left. We should think, So.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I'm all in on this.
All right. So you think Timmy's pulling it off?
From Timmy down through the cast to the director and the creatives involved.
Sure. Sure.
It looks like a very compelling movie. Did it say that James Mangold did the shot with him playing the guitar in the very beginning of this trailer? Mm-hmm. Looks straight out of like Walk the Line. Did he do Walk the Line?
He did do Walk the Line.
He did Walk the Line. So I think he
knows how to. He knows how to do a shit like this. He's done it before.
Yeah,
it's been a couple decades, but
I think he was just banking on nobody seeing Walk the Line. I think he's trying to recycle a shot. But that's okay. It's a cool shot. So whatever.
It's visual symmetry. Okay, that's what it is. It's not plagiarism. You copy yourself.
Can't play. Yeah, right. You can't copy yourself.
Now Walk the Line back in 2005. Fucked around with a lot of other genres in between. 310 to Yuma, Wolverine, Logan. Ford v Ferrari and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny most recently.
The Dial.
The Dial. That's like the Twister's accent coming out. You know. But yeah, here he is. He's going back to kind of a walk the line style, musical biopic with Timmy. Edward Norton, Elle Fanning, also in here as well. And it looks good. This is coming out December of 2024. I don't know that we don't appear to have a firm release date, but yeah, figured December sometime. And Bob Dylan. I don't know what your Bob Dylan connection is. I can't say that I've ever been hugely in on Bob Dylan. Like I know Bob Dylan. I've listened to Bob Dylan. I've heard plenty of Bob Dylan songs without being a huge Bob Dylan fan. Like I would struggle to even call myself a casual Bob Dylan fan, but I'm someone that respects a lot of his capabilities, particularly in terms of songwriting. But
I mean, like he's defined a genre, right? Like,
but I'd be really curious to watch a movie about Bob Dylan because I don't know a lot about Bob Dylan. You know what I mean?
There was another good movie that came out with I think Pedro Pascal's in it. I think.
Okay, about Bob Dylan, or just
where they like there's like 100 different people that play Bob Dylan.
Oh yes, I remember that because Cate Blanchett I think plays him at one point in that movie too, if I recall correctly.
Sounds familiar.
I remember
it's supposed to be really good too, but
I never saw that one though. What was that?
I haven't seen it either.
Oh, God. But every time I bring something up, I'm like, oh, now I have to find out what it is. I'm Not There. That's what it was.
That is it. 2007.
Yeah. Heath Ledger played him as well. That's right. Before he passed away. So, yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe I'll go all in on the Dylan train. I'll fucking listen to all the music. I'll watch
Bob
I'm
Dylan
Not There.
bonus episode.
I'll watch A Complete Unknown. I'm just all in on the Dylan train, perhaps. But this looks good. So December, I could find myself in a theater watching this potentially.
Yeah.
But why don't we turn the page? Why don't we turn the calendar over to 2025 for the next trailer? And then we'll go back to 2024. Don't worry, we'll come back. But we have a teaser trailer for a movie that I teased earlier in the episode because this indeed is the next film from Joseph Kosinski, who couldn't do Twisters anymore because he was going to be too busy making a movie called F1.
Is that who directs it? Joseph Kosinski.
Yeah. He says, I've made the movie with lots of planes flying around real fast. Now I want to stick to the ground and make a movie about cars that move real fast. So we've got F1, and this one's also got Brad Pitt in it. So that's got that going for it too.
Brad Pitt's going to make some money. It's nice to see him making some money.
He's doing all right for himself. He's got some family issues going on right now.
Oh,
but
does he?
In terms of his film career, he seems to be doing all right. Oh yeah, big drama with Angie and the kids.
No.
Yeah, it's all right. Just compartmentalize. Personal life. Acting profession. Acting.
Fuck this,
prowess.
Angie. I'm going to work.
Pretty much. So what do you think about F1, the teaser trailer that we got for this?
Yeah, I mean, I think you were alluding to Top Gun, right? That's what he's directed.
Oh yes, I don't know if I actually said that, but yes.
Okay.
Yes. Feels like he made Top Gun. He was just like, I'm doing it again with cars now.
I think that's exactly the vibe I got. I didn't know that he directed Top Gun, and because he's not like there's not displays of it in this.
It doesn't tell you from the director of Top Gun Maverick,
but there's a huge focus on the audio and the shots of like Brad Pitt in the car, just the different drivers and the cars. I think I'm really excited about this. This seems like a watch it in big and loud movie theater.
Yeah, definitely. Filmed for IMAX. So maybe that's the biggest and loudest place to watch something like this.
Yeah, this might warrant a Orlando trip, I think. It looks like it's like I wish I would have saw Top Gun in Orlando.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
So maybe I don't wish that I would have watched this in Orlando. Maybe I just do it. But F1 cars are cool. They're really fast. They're real agile. And this seems to focus a lot on the visuals and the sounds and stuff of F1 racing, which is pretty cool. And I think we have established that we both really like well shot and well made racing movies. There's something special about them.
Yeah. Right.
So, anyways, I'm all in on this. Very excited.
Yeah. Well, June 27th is when this will be making its way to theaters of 2025, to be clear. I think it's a pretty striking teaser. I mean, there's especially the back half is just a huge focus on a lot of these driving shots and everything. So I'm like how intense is this going to get, with the racing? Because from the teaser, I really get the sense that like there's going to be long extended sequences of just fucking racing, and it's like, how much is it going to be interspersed with the human drama of it all, or is this just like full on? Like, there's parts of this, and I don't mean this disparagingly. I was like, this shit looks like a fucking video game, just in terms of just like the construction of the shots and everything.
Yeah,
but I feel
totally.
like if you're in a movie, if you're at least mildly invested in these fucking people or whoever it is, you're going to get sucked in, and the sound design is going to blow you the fuck away. 4 or something almost. So.
Oh man, there's a sequence here where he has to downshift. You can hear him, and then he goes around the corner, and then he starts shifting up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it looks very intense.
Yeah, I think it will be,
and I think it's going to be a little bit different too, because I mean, the jets of Maverick, they're supposed to be far away, but they purposely made all the shots very close. So you had the so that like they did a trench run, right? They put the small, fast-moving jet in a trench, because if it's just across the open sky, there's no contrast there, right? You don't get that depth of how fast something is moving or whatever, But with this being on a track and you have 40 other cars you're racing with and stuff, you can make a very, very awesome scene, and it's a lot easier, and it's probably a lot cheaper too, I would imagine. So, but Maverick was like a top earner, right? They made stupid amounts of money.
Definitely. Yep.
So
this has the potential, I think. So, it's not a legacy sequel. It's not obviously riding the hot, riding off the success of a popular 1980s
Tom Cruise
movie.
is actually in F1 and he's a racer.
He could be. I don't know that he is, but he could be. We can't definitively rule it out just yet, but yeah, I mean, this definitely does have the potential, I think, to have some, those sort of crossover appeal that something like Top Gun has, where it's like, yeah, not everyone's into military shit or fucking, jets flying around, but something about Top Gun just hits all the right buttons, something like this. I don't give a shit about Formula One. You know what I mean? I don't watch Formula One in my spare time. I probably won't even after watching this movie. But I'd be happy to strap in for a couple hours and watch a fucking, thrill ride of a movie, in a Dolby and an IMAX or whatever too, yeah. Maybe we'll circle back around to it when we get a full trailer. But I'll say effective teaser, striking teaser. Looking forward to this in June of next year. So there you have it. F1. You ready to talk one last trailer?
One last trailer.
It's a big one. Following up on a bonus episode that we would have done last year when we talked about a 2001 movie by the name of Gladiator. Old Ridley, he's back in the saddle. Ridley Scott is a son of a bitch. 2000, not 2001, just to be clear. 24 years later, we're getting Gladiator 2. Gladiator II. Use the Roman numerals, which is appropriate. But we got a full official trailer for it, showing off everything. It's kind of an interesting. I think we talked about it. It's like, what is Gladiator 2? It's like, it's not a movie that is necessarily tailor made for a sequel. So now we know. Maximus has not been resurrected from the dead, but instead some time has passed. We've got a new protagonist and Lucius, who was just a boy. He was just a boy in Gladiator 1, but now he's a man. And now he's a Gladiator 2, because of course he's a fucking gladiator. But yeah, what do you think? Gladiator II, Gladiator 2. Yeah. How you feeling? On this one?
I like the cast.
Good cast. Pedro Pascal, Connie Nielsen's back, Denzel's here, Joseph Quinn. Half the Fantastic Four is in this goddamn movie. We've got Mr. Fantastic and the Human Torch. And Joseph Quinn seems he's doing a real Jaquan sort of thing, but there's two Jaquans this time, so it's different. There's two people. It's half Jaquan and then the other half of Jaquan. Together they are full Jaquan. Yeah, so good cast. I agree. All right. Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts come to mind?
Is Pedro Pascal supposed to be Marcus Aurelius, but they just changed him to Marcus Acacius? Is Marcus Acacius
my Wikipedia says that Marcus Acacius is a Roman general who trained under Maximus. So I think he's a Maximus stand-in, because Maximus is dead. Spoilers for Gladiator, the 2000 film. Oh. So yeah, he's kind of just Maximus, but we couldn't bring Maximus back without really, really messing with a lot of things that happened in that first movie. So
right, okay. Emperor Geta, it looks like an absolute.
Caracalla.
Looks like he's like a stand-in for the other.
Right. Yeah. Instead of one crazy Jaquan, you get two Jaquans, two for the price of one.
Okay.
Two Commoduses, I guess.
Hey,
so they got fucking naval battles in the Coliseum now, that's historically accurate. Sharks and shit. They did that. They did that for realsies.
Did they really? I don't think they did.
Yeah.
Did they really?
It's pretty fucking cool, right?
I didn't. How did that thing hold water? I've seen I've only ever seen pictures of the Coliseum, but it didn't look like it'd be able to hold water like that.
I don't know. Just
I guess they could build boats that kept water out.
Ancient engineering, yeah, I don't know.
Naval battles within the Coliseum. That's incredible. I didn't know that was a real thing.
Yeah, no, that's legit. I mean, I don't know if it looked exactly the way that we see it in this trailer or anything like that, but
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about the trailer? You got, I think, a little Kanye action. Atop the Gladiator scenes and stuff. I don't know. What are you thinking?
I just don't want him to ruin it. I really like the original Gladiator.
Well, I mean, thankfully, Ridley Scott would never in a million years go back to a franchise that was beloved, that he did good things with, and then ruin it. Actually, I'm sorry. Our producer is chiming in and said, Prometheus, Alien Covenant, you dumb fuck. You dumb son of a bitch. So I stand corrected. Ridley Scott is indeed capable of making some absolute trash. But he makes good things sometimes too. Sometimes he makes good things. But yeah. I think that was always kind of my biggest concern with Gladiator 2 is like, why? Like, what's the story?
Really good, right.
Like, okay, and I was kind of just like, you can only call it Gladiator 2 if it's actually about a fucking gladiator, in which case, who's the gladiator? It's like, all right, well, they covered that. They did answer my concerns of, if it's going to be Gladiator 2, it better be about a goddamn gladiator. It is not called Lucius, a Gladiator story, or whatever that I predicted it would be, so they got me wrong there. They just went with Gladiator 2. Yeah, just kind of, it feels like it's just kind of the same movie. It's kind of what it feels like it is. Lucius, like, something bad happens to him in his past, and now he's out for revenge, and he's doing it through the arena, and it's like, okay, I saw that movie. It was called Gladiator. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. I don't need another one that is kind of just the same thing, but slightly different, or, makes you, it's got naval battles, so it's different. It's like, yeah, I mean, I am struggling to see how this is going to do anything
add anything to the franchise.
Yeah, right. To not just feel like playing the greatest hits again, for Gladiator, which again is a great movie and is totally worthy of like having a sequel potentially, but it doesn't need it. Like it's not a story that asks for one. There's a reason one hasn't been made in 24 years. So I'm a little bit at the point where I'm just like, I never asked for this, and you've now shown me 3 minutes, and I don't feel like my opinion has really changed, to be quite honest. So, I mean, all that said, will I see this in theaters?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. Yeah, probably will. I probably will see it. I mean, will it make some money? I mean, probably. It's going to need to, because they clearly spent some goddamn dough on it. It looks expensive, that's for sure. But I don't know. Yeah. I'm hesitant about it. I am not
Could it be good if it wasn't called Gladiator 2 and it told a similar story and it was just a thing, you know?
Maybe. You know, maybe. I mean...
Is it because it's called Gladiator and associated with it and it potentially tells a very similar story?
I think it's, to me, it's just kind of just, if it's just the same thing over again but worse, that's not what I want out of a sequel. You know, like it's not enough to just do the same thing but worse, you know, and we're literally about to talk a movie that I will say, you know, preview of coming attractions definitely does a similar thing to the original Twister, but, you know, I think maybe has enough wrinkles and a few different kind of ideas up its sleeve that it doesn't feel like a carbon copy. This so far, what we've seen feels like it's being marketed as this is kind of the first one. Like if you haven't seen the first one in 20 years, this is probably fresh and exciting and interesting. Or if you hadn't seen, you know, if you didn't grow up with the original, you know, being around, like, but it also seems to be targeted at people like, remember that movie? It's really cool. We know we haven't seen it in 20 years, so here's like a new cool version of it. And it's like, all right, fine. You know, it very well could be fine in a vacuum, but again, just give me something different. The problem I have with that
is if you wanted to tell a story for like like for example, if it's almost the same thing with Star Wars, right? The Force Awakens. If you want to try to,
that's the problem with all these fucking like legacy sequels.
You want to tell a story for like a new audience that's cool. Just remake it.
Could do that, but then you piss other people off. So it's
just retell the story with a different audience and update the visuals and maybe do a couple of different new things. Don't make a sequel, but then make it the same. It's stupid. I don't know.
Yeah. Which is kind of why I wanted this to be something that wasn't Gladiator focused. Like, I think that would have made more sense other than, again, just, oh no, someone's back in the arena doing Gladiator shit. Like, you want to have a Gladiator sequence in a movie? Fine, but make the story something else. I mean, I hate to use this as an example, but I saw a trailer for it in front of another movie that I saw, which was not Twisters. But it kind of feels like that fucking Mufasa movie that they're doing. At least feels like it's trying to be something different than just The Lion King again.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, all right. I mean, it's, you know, it looks kind of the same. It's the same tech and everything. But, like, the story is, like, kind of different probably, you know? Like,
hopefully.
So, hopefully. I mean, at least the teaser makes it feel like this is not just the same fucking story you've now been told twice. You know, one really well in the first place in the 90s, and then in a very pretty but kind of boring fashion, and you know, in the 2000s. So, yeah, I don't. I will see it. You know, just to put the fine point on that, I will almost certainly see it.
We'll probably have an episode on it.
November 15th. We feel like we got to complete our Gladiator coverage, but I can't say that I'm like pumped about it. November 22nd. Sorry. They get it a week earlier in the UK for some reason, those sons of bitches. Aren't you American, Ridley? That's the most un-American thing I've ever heard. No, he's English. Oh, shit. All right, that's fine. No wonder. That makes more sense. I stand corrected. So here you go. There you go. Gladiator 2. November 22nd or 15th, depending on where you live. And that brings us to talking about the movie that I already sort of started talking about, but now we can continue talking about it and fully get into it because it's time to talk about Twisters, if you're ready to talk about Twisters.
Yeah, let's talk Twisters, dude.
All right, let's talk Twisters, which is playing in theaters right now. It was written by Mark L. Smith, directed by Lee Isaac Chung, stars Daisy Edgar Jones, Glenn Powell, Anthony Ramos, Brandon Perea, Maura Tierney, Sasha Lane, Superman himself, David Cornsweet, and Katie O'Brien. In Twisters, a retired tornado chaser and meteorologist is persuaded to return to Oklahoma to work with a new team and new technologies. And when you know it, in case you hadn't figured it out yet, they added the S at the end because this is a sequel to Twister from 1996. So,
very clever.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh? Very cool. Twisters.
And there are, in fact, Twisters. Spoiler.
Oh, sizzle. Twins! We got twins! Would you like to do a box office breakdown about Twisters? Box office breakdown. It's a little twang there. A little twang. Trying to add a little, I try to theme things now. Yeah. I think I did a little Nick Cage on the Long Legs episode, so, add a little flavor, each week, each episode.
C.
Put it in the file according to alphabetical order. How'd I get burned? How'd I get burned?
Mommy! Daddy!
We already did that. That was last
I
episode.
I love it, though. It's my favorite part of the movie.
Nick Cage bonus episode when my dad would love it. Twisters was was projected to make about $40 to $55 million in its opening weekend.
Okay.
Which at this point is a couple weeks ago. But wouldn't you know it, it blew expectations out of the water and nabbed $81.2 million in its opening weekend.
Damn.
Which
Like Glenn Powell.
is, probably about double, projections coming in. Also about double what the first movie opened to back in 1996. And so yeah, a stellar start for Twisters on the opening weekend front. Dropped about 56%, 57% rounding up in its second weekend with about $35 million. And so far, we're looking at it about 2 weeks into release as of recording. It's about $235 million worldwide and about $169 million domestically. So it's definitely more loaded on the domestic side. Like it's playing better in America than it is elsewhere. But I think it's playing well enough in the States in North America for I think WB and company to feel pretty good about what they've got their hands on. Yeah, big success. Budget reported about $155 million. So it's definitely surpassed its budget. I think that this is going to be a profitable film at the end of the day, and maybe just maybe we can talk about this later. Maybe we'll see a Twisters, in the future as a result of how well it's doing. So, best ever opening weekend for a natural disaster movie, holding out beating out the previous record holder of The Day After Tomorrow, 2004.
Whoa.
So,
better than the John Cusack 2012 or whatever?
I think it did better than that. Yeah, I don't have the numbers for that in front of me, but I think it did better than that. And then there's a line in this box office report that I'm looking at that actually leads me into the next thing I was going to ask about. But of the opening weekend, $2.1 million came from 4DX screenings, which I heard great things about seeing this in 4DX. I did not do that. I saw it in Dolby, but I
had recommendation from Sarah's sister to try to find it.
Yeah, I think as far as I'm aware, I think only Regal has the 4DX technology. So I would have had to pay $30 to do it. So I wasn't planning on doing that when I have a list that costs less than one ticket would be for this, for a whole month.
Yeah.
But if there was a movie that was going to get me to go see something where I get fucking wind blown at me and rained on and shit, Twisters probably would have been the one to do it. But too late
pretty
now.
Cool.
Too late now. So, but what about you? How'd you see this movie? Did you end up seeing it in a premium format or just a regular ass theater?
4 days away from seeing it in Dolby. Ended up having to see it in a regular ass theater.
I see. A little too late.
Late.
Probably Deadpool supplanted it at that point.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
That's the problem when they have the big releases too close to each other. Obviously it makes sense. Your studio, rival studios are going to compete with each other. You want your movie to do better than the other movie, so you put it out and cut out the legs from it or whatever. But it sucks for audiences sometimes because Twisters is a movie that should be in premium formats for 2-3 weeks. Wasn't there a whole issue with a Tom Cruise movie, Mission Impossible? I think had this sort of issue where it was going to have a very limited run in the premium formats because there was just other shit coming out too soon after. So yeah, and obviously by the time anyone's listening to this, it's definitely going to be playing in theaters still, but good luck finding it obviously in any sort of premium format. But definitely a movie that lends itself well to that, I would say. But you saw it in a regular theater, probably still better than your setup at home. Enough hopefully to be fairly immersive and all that, right? Depending on the theater, right? Some theaters are certainly better than others, but how was your experience and how did you enjoy Twisters?
All right, so Twisters was a blockbuster journey. Was the second film in my first date of my first
that's right,
double feature, and probably
a proper theatrical double feature.
Probably over a decade. It's been
definitely
the
first
while.
Since you've been a dad. I think we can say that at a bare minimum.
100. Yes, definitely that. it was really cool. So we got my father-in-law and my sister-in-law's boyfriend. We went and saw Deadpool in premium format. And then after that, my sister-in-law got off of work, and she met us at the movie theater, and all four of us caught Deadpool. Or not Deadpool, Twisters. And, my initial impression of Twisters is Oklahoma gets fucking rocked, dude. Like,
why does anyone live there?
Why does anybody live there? They, the crux of the show is that this meteorologist is like helping out for a week, and within a week, they clock
every day. Every day there's some sort of weathered pattern. Like, oh, this one's moving left, this one's right. Which one you want to follow? Yeah, it's like, oh, fucking Christ, there's multiple. There's multiple that I can see with my naked eye that I can make a decision and be able to follow. Yeah, it's like, all right,
there's like a sequence where she's at a gas station looking at different cloud formations. Okay, that one, there's that one, there's this one. There's
that one's gonna be real fucked. That one will peter out. No, not a big deal. That one over there,
okay.
Like every direction you turn.
In Oklahoma, man.
And they're
not just getting rocked. I mean, people are getting sucked under freeways and shit. Like it's hardcore. These tornadoes, you don't fuck around with tornadoes.
As Luke Combs would say, ain't no love in Oklahoma. So that's what he would say about that. I don't know if that helps. I was thinking it was. I originally thought the song title was "Ain't No Home Like Oklahoma," but that's not the name of the song. So, but I feel like they say something like that in the movie itself. I could be wrong, but anyway, that did not help my argument of why anyone would want to live there, because you wouldn't catch me living there. Not if this is accurate in any way. Let's put it that way.
I'm not quite sure what some of the goals of certain characters were.
Okay.
Like the conflict in this movie.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
The conflict of this movie didn't quite add up in my brain. Like, I mean, I didn't dwell on it too much. Like, it's not a movie that requires. So that's the nice thing about a summer blockbuster. It doesn't require it.
You can turn your brain off.
Yeah, you turn your brain off a little bit.
Just roll with things. Don't think about things too hard.
Yeah.
The usually doesn't end well, or at least it just makes you mad about things.
Started to think about it. I was like, I just don't quite understand it, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Okay.
And so that's it's unfortunate. You got Glenn Powell, and I thought, who played Catwoman?
It depends on which one we're talking about.
No, not Halle Bailey, not Halle Bailey, not Halle Berry.
Anne Hathaway, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Anne Hathaway.
Okay.
I thought that the lead of this movie was Anne Hathaway's daughter. Like, oh man, this girl looks just like Anne Hathaway.
Okay.
It's not. I was wrong.
I think she's too British for that sort of business.
Well, that's pretty important. Also, when you Google the cast of this movie, your female lead's not listed first. Just kind of bullshit, because she was definitely the lead of this movie.
Did they put old Glenn at number one?
Oh, they put old Glenny Glenn up there up front.
Got to put that handsome man up front. Let people know.
That handsome man up there, right?
Let them know.
And I mean, he was a charismatic lead. He did.
He is a lead, but he is not the lead for sure.
Right.
Definitely,
right.
It's definitely Kate's movie. I think in terms of characters that we follow and stuff for sure. So yeah, no, that's some bullshit.
But, Glenn did a good job though. If Timmy's our guy for like.
Timmy does the more serious, like dramatic roles.
Timmy's our guy for drama.
Glenn is
guy.
you need a handsome guy to be charming and suave and cool. He's gonna nail it. Like he's your
blockbuster guy.
He's who you turn to, right? He's the blockbuster. Yeah, he's totally. Yeah,
he's your new Brad Pitt. He's your new, whatever. He's the new guy.
Yeah, and I think at this point, we've seen him in enough things. I think recently, where I feel good about him. It doesn't feel like, I feel like I've seen a lot of people commenting like, why is Hollywood shoving this guy down my throat? And I'm like, number one, because he's probably good looking, but I like him. I think he's genuinely very charming, and I think very good, even in movies that are otherwise not as good. Like Anyone But You, a movie that he tried his best to carry by being his charming self and could not do it. Did
you watch The Hitman?
I did not. I still haven't seen Hitman. But it seems like a movie where he gets to maybe flex his chops a little bit more because he's doing little versions of the his Hitman character. But at the end of the day, he's probably still
pretty charming,
being Glenn Powell and trying to be charming and stuff. And he just kind of I think he's got a very good charismatic presence. And plays well with others. I mean, I think him and Anne Hathaway's daughter, Daisy Edgar Jones, have good chemistry in this movie. I like it's a good cast dynamic overall. I think. Yeah,
I think that the romance in this movie, for a summer blockbuster, especially, but for super especially a Glenn Powell, an attractive female lead kind of deal. The romance that we got, instead of being like a modest 7, was like a dour kind of 4. Like there was just like
it's not a super sexy kind of movie. Maybe
it's not super sexy, and there's not like a whole lot of innuendo either.
Sure.
And at the same time, there's like no macking. There's no and like there's just
sure.
Like it's kind of like a
it's a pretty celibate relationship kind of deal.
It's a little kiddish,
Yeah, sure.
It's like a kiddish romance, which I guess is cool. It's whatever. You can take your kids to see it. It's definitely kid friendly, and
family friendly movie. It's got obviously intense sequences and stuff like that, and where it cuts a little deeper and hits a little harder. But on the whole, it is, as we kind of talked about, it's fucking through and through summer blockbuster, and there's really no point in this movie where it deviates from that path too much. You know what I mean? It's as advertised, I think. Is how
totally
how I would describe it.
I enjoyed the practical effects of this movie.
Yeah,
I really like Glenn Powell's Ram 3500.
Yeah,
thought it was
the drill,
much of the same vein that I like the practical effects in Mad Max.
Mm-hmm.
I like me some car practical effects, and this thing's got it's got 2 augers on the side of it, like bolted onto the side, and it just like pulls itself into the ground.
Fucking anchored car anchors, I guess.
Yeah, it's fucking cool. That scratched a good itch. Oh man, look at this thing go. Yeah. Also firework launchers on the side.
Pretty essential.
Yeah, it's just cool.
Cool. He's got the switches in the fucking dash, and so he's just don't hit that one. Oh, well, that's what that one does. That sort of thing.
I think his Ram was probably my favorite part of the movie.
That was your favorite character.
Yeah, I like his truck a lot.
Okay.
And there's Twisters. I have some thoughts about some characters.
I was say Twisters in this movie. Let's not get into spoilers just yet. We're not there yet. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean it's a very simple movie, and I think that what it set out to do, I think it did it very well.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Like if you aim small, you miss small. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I think like it didn't really have a misstep because it was aiming small. Like it didn't set out to do anything groundbreaking. It set out to, have some attractive people do some cool things, and they did some cool stuff, and had some spectacle, and it was people rolling around listening to country music, chasing Twisters.
There's a healthy amount of country music in it. I feel like
there's a part of me
apart from other movies, though. In some ways, I feel like the leaning into the country music, I feel like that's uncommon in a movie of this scale and budget and stuff. So
it is, yeah. If I was on a week vacation, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'd kind of like to roll with Glenn Powell and his people and chase some Twisters.
Yeah.
If he had a YouTube channel,
Tornado Wrangler,
I'd
you'd
probably
be subscribing. You'd be watching as those videos drop.
I'd probably, if I'm laying in bed and can't sleep, I'd probably tune in to see what they're up to. Sure.
Okay.
It's fun. It's a fun movie. It's cool. It's cool to make a simple, fun movie.
Right.
So
yeah, summer blockbuster.
That's that for me.
All right. What's your history with the original Twister, 1996? I know we've talked a little bit about the ride, being a thing, but you assume you'd seen the original at some point in your life, but probably not recently.
Like two dozen
did
times.
Did not rewatch it in anticipation of Twisters or anything, I assume.
No, I think I watched Twister probably 8 years ago, something like that. That's the most recent I've seen it.
Gotcha.
Not quite a decade, but not far from it.
Is it anything that you have nostalgia or fondness for? Like going into a Twisters, or is it just kind of like, it's a movie that obviously came out when I was a kid.
That was my introductory into Paxton.
Bill Paxton, sure. Yeah.
Bill Paxton is Bill, right?
Bill Paxton, not Pullman. Yes, correct.
Yes. And he was very much a cool dude too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm fond of that movie.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious.
Instead of watching Twister, because I woke up in the morning and did a couple things, and then I put on Deadpool 1 and 2 before I went to go watch Deadpool 3 and Twisters.
Okay.
So instead of watching Twister, I watched the first two Deadpools. But yeah, I'm fine. I like the original Twister.
All right. Okay. I was just curious. I did rewatch the original, which is partially why I asked. I hadn't seen it in a long time. Actually, I kind of had this realization, like, I think maybe either
it's got Philip
halfway
Seymour
through.
Hoffman in it too, doesn't it?
It does that, yeah. So it's kind of funny because, like, there's the cast of the original Twister. There's a lot of great actors in very small kind of bit roles, like Philip Seymour Hoffman, Alan Ruck, other actors that aren't name actors but are recognizable. And obviously Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton are kind of the two mains. Cary Elwes is like the villain, sort of dickbag kind of tornado guy. But the thing that I realized was I didn't know that I had actually ever seen the full movie. Like, I think...
Oh, really?
So we watched it, and then I was telling Anna about, there's the Twister ride that is now defunct. Thank you, Jimmy Fallon, you fucking asswipe. Ruining my childhood, taking away my Twister ride, which is where you just stand and wind gets blown at you and some trees fall down and shit. I still have fond memories of it, but we realized, because we watched like a YouTube version of it, that when you're going through the line and stuff like that, it basically gives you like a summary of the entire movie. And then I was like, you know what? I don't know if I've ever actually seen Twister as a full movie.
Oh, man.
And I just have seen the 5-minute summarized version of it, and just my brain was just like, I've seen this movie. Because I didn't remember the crew and everything that helps them, and there were things that I obviously remembered, and I will say that ride just spoils the shit out of the whole fucking movie. But yeah, there was definitely things that I didn't remember. And the first Twister, it should be said, absolutely ridiculous film. Very entertaining, enjoyable. The cast is fun, but it's very, very silly, and I think intentionally so. But it was kind of nice to have Twister kind of forefront of my mind as I went into Twisters, like kind of calibrating of like, all right, that's the kind of movie that this is a sequel to. It's probably not trying to do anything too crazily different, not trying to reinvent the wheel, hopefully not doing a Gladiator 2 thing, of just being the same fucking thing, but now we have modern special effects so it looks better or whatever. And I will say, touching on Twisters, I was very happy. It is indeed, obviously about fucking people tornado chasing and all that stuff. But I think the actual plot of it kind of goes into a little bit of a different direction. The first Twister is very much about like them trying to successfully deploy this device to capture data on the inside of tornado, so that can help kind of predict when tornadoes are going to come, so they can have more advanced warning to get people to safety, get people out of town. I don't know how effective it was, because people in Twisters are definitely getting rocked by tornadoes left and right. Although there are characters in this and Twisters that are like, we don't believe in tornadoes, they're fucking fake. And it's like, okay, well, how'd that work out for you? But it tells a different story. It's different characters, it's a different story. At the end of the day, it's the same kind of movie. It's going for the same sorts of thing. They realized that they couldn't, bring Philip Seymour Hoffman back, and his zany energy. So they have like 5 characters who are part of Glenn Powell's crew, who are like a collective Voltron of a Philip Seymour Hoffman.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
And then, like Bill Paxton, obviously R.I.P. no longer with us. They didn't really try to recreate his energy. Like Kate is a very, very different lead character than Bill Paxton's character was, and I appreciated that it was, even though it was the same kind of setting, new time period. It wasn't just trying to do the same thing. Like obviously it's similar stuff, but the actual like why are they doing this? The why of it is different. And so I felt like it was a true proper sequel. And unlike a lot of legacy sequels that we've talked about, between even like The Force Awakens, as you mentioned, it's pretty much kind of doing its own thing at the same time too. It's not so reliant on nostalgia. There's cheeky references and stuff here and there, but it is very much kind of intended to be a standalone. Like you don't need to have watched Twister to really get into this movie, to understand,
to its benefit,
to know who these characters are and stuff like that. And yeah, I think it is to its benefit that it stands alone. Apart from Twister, I don't regret watching Twister. I think it was fun. Like I said, it kind of helped calibrate expectations. But at the end of the day, you could do exactly what you did: walk right into a cinema, having never seen Twister, or having watched Twister in 1996, or having watched it 8 years ago, and you're going to get the same things out of Twisters. I think, without it just feeling like, oh, I've seen this movie before. Although I will say, I would have really appreciated Glenn Powell being Bill Paxton's kid. Would have been. We'll get to, I think I'll save my general thoughts on how connected it is to Twister for spoilers. But yes, I have thoughts on that. We'll get there in just a second. But speaking of Glenn Powell, he's great. Daisy Edgar Jones, I haven't seen her in a lot, but I thought she was very good here. Good.
Does she look a little bit like Meg Ryan? Not Meg Ryan. What's her name?
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway?
Yeah, I could see it. They gave her blonde hair in this to throw us off, but we know who you are. And you're Anne's secret child. I got to do some math on this. She's 26. How old do we think Anne Hathaway is?
Anne Hathaway is probably what?
Late 30s, early 40s. Yeah,
early 40s.
Are you guessing or confirming?
I'm guessing. I think Anne Hathaway is 43.
She's 41. So
okay.
The math is a little questionable. So probably not a secret child, but not impossible at the same time either. Probably not related. Again, the British thing might throw things out of whack, but maybe they're just throwing us off the scent. She's faking it, Cast was good. Anthony Ramos, I like. The crew of Glenn Powell's, I found them kind of annoying and overbearing at first, but then kind of started to like them as they stopped being the fake douchebag YouTube personalities that everyone kind of plays up for the cameras. Superman is a real fucking asshole in this, but
he's
yeah,
the partner,
right? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, I think overall good charming cast, good fun cast, and that's kind of what you need for a movie like this to work. Is I am not going to fall in love with these characters. I am here to just have enough connection to these people as they go through these, big set pieces of fucking twisters and tornadoes and shit. And as long as you can accomplish all that, like you said, you aim small. It's okay to not, go for a knockout punch with every movie that you make. Like, if you know what you're trying to do and you know how to achieve it in a pretty effective way, and that's all you do, that's not a bad thing, so good. It's a good thing. I might say it's a good thing. It's a good thing to accomplish goals, so I had a lot of fun with Twisters. I had a lot of fun with it in Dolby. Shit rocked your fucking seat. I did not get wind blowing at me. I did not get rained on.
But you got the butt shakers.
But I got some big butt shakers, going on, and so I liked that. I'm a big fan of the butt shaking. So, and it's a movie that is supposed to rattle you. And then there's a part, not to get spoilery, but there's a meta part where some characters might be in a movie theater, but like you yourself, the audience member, are also in a movie theater.
Oh, shit.
So I can't even imagine what that would have been in 40X. I would have been, thinking, oh my God, this Twister's going to get me. It's going to get me. It's the people that in the, when film first came out and there was the train that went towards the screen that people jumped, they're like, oh God, the train's going to get me. Oh no, it's just moving pictures.
You're literally going to you're getting hit with debris.
Yeah. 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 How intense is 40X? That's my question. Like, are they, do they get theater employees like, around the top and they're like throwing shit at you, like just throwing rocks? Like, what are they, like, how intense
Throw
is this
paper
guy?
cups at the people.
Are you going to walk out of that cinema with some scrapes and little cuts, from the debris getting, thrown at you? Do you have to sign a liability waiver when you walk in the door and buy that ticket? Like, how does that work? Like, how intense is it? Is it like, is it like a haunted house where they can get up in your face and yell at you, but they can't really do anything that bad to you? And if they accidentally bump you, they'd be like, "Oop, sorry, we weren't supposed to do that." I don't know. You got to check out this 40X sometime.
You go watch F1 and you're getting hit with bits of rubber from the tires.
F1 would be good. Yeah, the whole movie is just wind being blown in your face at maximum speed to simulate driving.
Anyway, pay it a visit. Whenever I can see that at 40X.
I guess probably your closest Regal, or at least good enough Regal, big enough Regal. Anyway, I don't really know where the Regals are around there, but sure there's one somewhere. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with Twisters. Good, fun summer blockbusters. So should we move on to recommendation?
Yeah, let's move on up.
Would you recommend that folks check out Twisters in a theater, wait to watch it at home, or wait until someone pays them to watch? Wait until they get paid to watch. I always struggle how to word that.
I think you could go watch this in theaters. I think this is a good theater movie. Good experience.
I think this is a quintessential go see this in a movie theater movie.
Like, so far out of the movie theater, of the movies I've seen this year, this is the most for everybody movie.
Totally. This is, you can bring pretty much anyone. Like I said, even the romance stuff is pretty tame. So you can bring in a 6-year-old who might have a nightmare or two about a tornado, fucking up his life. But
yeah, well, you should be scared of tornadoes. You know what I mean?
They're fucking scary, right? Like, it's not a good thing. Like, it's supposed to be. Yeah, it's a warning sign. Like, it's
a natural disaster. It's not supposed to be pleasant.
Yeah, I mean, I guess is this glamorizing tornado wrangling a little too much for the kids? I don't know. Have a responsible conversation with your kid and say tornado wrangling is fictional. Don't do it. Tornado chasing. Real,
unless you have augers on the
that.
bottom of your truck, well then,
live
a little.
If you got that, then when you're old enough, son, when you're old enough, you can tornado wrangle.
You're old enough, we can go.
When you're old enough, you can not only face your fears, you can ride them. When you're old enough, you can do that. But for now, you are not old enough, so you will not be doing that. I think it's perfect, kind of for everyone. I don't want to say generic summer blockbuster, but kind of generic summer blockbuster. Yeah. Kind of somewhat paper thin characters, but just enough there to get invested enough for the span of 2 hours and walk out the door feeling good about it. Spectacle that is, kind of edge of your seat sort of spectacle where, oh shit, I think these people actually are in legitimate mortal peril at certain points. Like, there's enough. It's one of those movies where like there's enough fucking people in this movie. I'm like, oh my god, there's like 10 people in this crew. Like, I don't know, man. Any of these people could fucking die because I'm not that invested in anyone. So anyone could, like nothing's really off the table in terms of the stakes of this movie. So it's just kind of just a really fun, great summer blockbuster. Has it got some dumb shit in it? Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. But I don't know. I guess, you could probably look at this movie a lot more cynically than it sounds like either you and I did or have. But I don't know. Turn your brain off. You don't even have to turn your brain off that much.
It's like the science. Twisters.
The science is probably some nonsense bullshit. But I'm not a fucking scientist, man. I ain't no tornado scientist. I ain't no tornado rocket scientist. Tornado fireworks scientist. I'm not one of those. So
it does sound like a pretty cool idea to shoot fireworks in the tornado.
It's pretty sick. Pretty sick, nasty, dude. So I think that's a great idea.
As I've said before, simple man, simple pleasures.
Sure. So I think see this in theaters. Your home theaters, maybe yours. Most people's home theater. Your TV speakers will not do this movie justice.
No.
The sound design, the visual effects. This is a movie that is built around spectacle. That benefits from seeing it in the biggest, loudest format that you can, which at this point is just a standard old movie theater. But again, that is better than what you're going to do at home. It's better than your iPad. It's better than your bathtub. The speedboat in the bathtub type of thing. So yeah. If this even remotely interests you, go see it in a theater. Yeah, I think that's a really I think it's the best possible way to see it for sure. I will watch this movie again probably at some point when it comes out on 4K and be like, I think I liked it less. I still had fun with it, but I think I like this movie less. Like that's kind of, I think that's kind of, the impact of being able to be locked in for like a couple hours and
right.
Maybe some booty shakers, So anyway, let's do some full spoilers for Twisters. Let's loop back around to that little comment you made about Glenn Powell not being related to Bill Paxton. The real spoiler, the real surprise to me is that not even just that he wasn't related, is that no one in this fucking movie was related to anyone from the first movie. In fact, I was shocked. No cameo. I mean, I didn't expect Bill Paxton to come, rise from his grave and be in this movie. But I thought we'd get a Helen Hunt appearance or something like that. But now that I'm seeing there might be some bitter history because she's like, I want to make this movie. And they're like, no, we don't want to do your woke movie, Twisters.
Oof.
So I wonder if that maybe was an element of it, or if it was just a very deliberate, conscious choice of, no, we don't want this to rely on nostalgia,
The only nostalgic thing we're going to have is Dorothy.
Right. Let's have Dorothy in the beginning. And it's like, that's a reference. It's a thing that's a natural follow-up. Like, this is the same universe. There's a Dorothy in this that works, that is a kind of known quantity at this point. That's it. Let's move on. It's in Oklahoma still. There's things that will feel evocative of the first movie, but we don't need to make it so strictly tethered that people might feel like they're missing something if they haven't seen that one ever or in a while. So I thought that was actually a really interesting storytelling decision because it really kind of, to me, breaks apart from a lot of movies that find any excuse to tie it back, where they can. Like everyone's related to someone.
Sequel stuff.
And it's like the most ridiculous thing when it's, I don't know, sometimes it just gets so ridiculous. It's just like, oh yeah, of course they're related to that, and it's like everyone's fucking related in these goddamn movies. Ray was a Palpatine. Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Of course she was.
Right, totally. Everyone's related to someone in this fucking huge galaxy sprawling movie franchise, but yeah.
Oklahoma's small enough and everybody dies in tornadoes that it's probably not too far.
That's true. They don't have enough time to reproduce and have heirs, so it's part of the problem. But yeah, I actually kind of thought that was genuinely sort of refreshing. I kept waiting for a moment of like, oh yeah, here's my dad. He's, and he goes to the grave and, it's Bill Paxton's, like I really did think there was going to be something.
Right.
Or Kate was Helen Hunt's, daughter or something like that.
It's
I really
like a picture in his truck or something of him and his dad.
Right. Some sort of something. And they didn't go that direction, which was fine, which I thought was totally fine. Yeah.
How did you feel about the deaths in the beginning of the movie?
So interestingly enough, I missed the very first, probably 30 seconds to a minute. I caught all the deaths. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Because AMC has decided. When I saw Long Legs, 30 minutes of previews. When I saw Twisters, 17 minutes of previews in Dolby. So that's including the Dolby, the guy breathing fire on shit.
Wow.
Nicole, the other
bizarre.
people that aren't Nicole. Who have their own AMC thing too, where they're dancing and, driving in a theater and stuff. So it's like, what the hell, man? Like, some consistency might be nice here. So I did miss probably, again, max of a minute, but it was like, I hate when I do that because, like when I sit down in a theater, it takes like a minute for my brain to like lock in, and
sure,
kind of like be ready for it. When you're just like fucking thrown right into it, I'm like, oh God. And then this is a movie that begins with a whole sequence where it's just like, we're going to go tornado chasing. And it's a bunch of people where I'm like, I don't remember most of these people in the trailer. And I'm like, oh, they're going to die. Everyone here is going to die. And pretty much everyone did. Kate, the people that we did see in the trailer, a.k.a. Daisy Edgar-Jones and Anthony Ramos, were okay. Everyone else, super duper dead. So what did I think about it?
I couldn't help but laugh. Like, I mean, just people just, whoop, they just slide right off of her. Whoop.
Yeah. Well, again, it was like one of those things. Like I was waiting for the dominoes to fall. I'm like, oh, these characters are all fucking dying. Again, except for her. We know she's gonna live. She's our main character. So it was just kind of I don't recall if I laughed exactly.
I couldn't help but giggle a little bit. Like, oh my gosh.
We were right. There's kind of like the oh fuck. Like there's I did kind of relate. And I'm like, this movie did a good job of making it seem like being stuck in a tornado would be a fucking goddamn nightmare. because it almost certainly would be. So I think
it's
this is
sucking
an
in
example
cars,
of that.
it's sucking out people.
The one where they're in Oklahoma and they're like in the pool, I guess, where they're kind of like that, where it's after the rodeo sequence, like that. I thought was pretty effective. And then the theater, another, literal example. The one girl is fucking literally holding on as it's trying to rip her out of the theater. So I felt like this movie did a very good job, including the beginning of just being like, this is not a position you'd like to put yourself in. So this is why we don't live in Oklahoma. Number one, to go back to that, but I definitely thought everyone was going to die, and pretty much went how I expected. So I don't know if I laughed though, but I don't.
The only one that I laughed at, to be fair, was the overpass one. Where it's like, you're not going to go anywhere, Kate. You're not going to go anywhere, and then he's like, "Floop," and he just gets.
Was that the first guy? The first guy that like he doesn't because the rest of them make it under, or at least close enough to making it under. The one girl can't crawl up. And then the boyfriend
gets sucked away too.
Gets right. Yeah, everyone just gets sucked away into the void. Eliath got him.
Do you think? And I think I already voiced the opinion about Oklahoma. It's just, man. I think,
what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's like 8 tornadoes, 9 tornadoes in the span of like 5 days or whatever. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, aside from that, it's unfortunate that Dorothy didn't. That's what I was going to talk about. Is the conflict?
Yes.
So
yes, I think right. Yeah.
The guy from Hamilton, his partner, Superman.
Mm-hmm.
His uncle is a real estate mogul, and he's buying people's properties. Is the purpose of the company that chases the tornadoes to devalue the property? Or like why is he invested in this company?
Right.
He says that he's doing it for insurance purposes to save like homeowners and stuff for the insurance companies, but he's not working for the insurance company. He's his main investor is the property guy that's buying all the property.
Right.
So like what's the perp, like why would the investor guy why is he making this company when he can just do what he's already doing? Go buy people's property from after a tornado rips it off the ground, Yeah,
I guess the only thing I can think is that he thinks the tornado data will get him ahead
cheaper?
Of maybe. Yeah, he'll know where to look next. He'll know, like kind of be ready to swoop in, that sort of thing. And I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of
like they just made him like a bad guy because he's like a property. He's trying to buy the property when people are underinsured. Right.
People are obviously, they're at a point where they're devastated by this natural disaster. They're at a low point, and this guy's an asshole that swoops in and takes advantage of, I guess, of that situation. I guess that's kind of the idea. Is,
Yeah.
I mean, I think, I don't know, because it's kind of the whole thing of it is like trying to be like a reversal of like a role reversal where you think Glenn Powell and his douchebag YouTube friends are being douchebags, and selling shit to fucking tornado survivors, and like, oh, but no, we're actually just we're using the profits from this to aid victims, of these tornadoes. But that other guy, he's a real dickbag, and you should know that, So I don't know that I entirely follow the scheme. I guess it's just maybe in a general sense, it's like helping tornado victims good. Taking advantage of tornado victims at their lowest point, bad. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I guess is kind of just, I think you can at least boil it down to that, as at its core.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, and the bigger idea being, she's kind of lured here by Javi, by Anthony Ramos's character to basically be like, hey, I started up this company, and we're trying to do really good work, and then it turns out like, well, your old buddy ain't doing that much good work. He's helping this guy fuck over people, that sort of thing. So me, that's why you should look at me, Mr. Handsome Glenn Powell. I'm very handsome, but I won't kiss you. I won't kiss you in this movie. No kissies. We'll save that for Twisters.
Very limited holding. There's not a lot of affection.
No, No, it's like a Tom Cruise styled romance where Scientology prevents him from kissing on screen for the most part, so he doesn't do it. Okay. Hopefully, Glenn Powell, not a Scientologist. That would be devastating. He doesn't need to do the kissy. He's just too charming. He's just so charming. That's it. It's all about building the natural chemistry between them. It doesn't have to be physical. He's just gotta. Hey, you've got a fucking dream of creating this device that shoots out fucking polyacrylate beads into a tornado and dissipates the fucking tornado. Stop the tornado in its tracks. Yeah. You got a dream, and I'm here to help you realize that dream. I'm Mr. Handsome, but I'm also not too bad with science myself. I did go to college, not to brag. Right. So I'm going to help you out. So that's kind of the genesis, I guess, of where they are. I liked it, I mean, this seems like some pretty sweet technology. We should see if there's some real life merit to this whole idea of blowing up a goddamn tornado from the inside.
Why can't we do that? It seems like a perfectly logical thing.
Well, I think there is a section on the Wikipedia page for Twister's scientific accuracy. The producers consulted with NOAA during development, but I think that it's been said that a professor at Texas A&M University remarked, highly unlikely that the small-scale methods depicted in the movie would have any real impact on tornadoes. To my knowledge, no one is actively pursuing such an approach. Well, maybe you should. Oh, look at this fucking immersion-breaking shit. Twin tornadoes featured in the film do occur in real life. Okay, great. I thought it was saying that they don't occur in real life, and I was like, no, you can't make a movie called Twisters, with twins and stuff like that, and that'd be fake. That would be horseshit. This had fucking fire tornadoes too. That was pretty intense. Yeah, fire tornadoes. Also, I think Anthony Ramos definitely killed Superman. I don't think it's actually necessarily laid out for you, but he did ditch him right before that tornado was about to come through town. So I do think that unless his Superman powers manifested very, very quickly, and this is, surprise, surprise, the same universe, I do think Superman dead. Or someone got him. Someone got him off screen and he's fine. But he was a dick, so it's fine. If you're a dick in a movie, it's okay if a tornado kills you. It's what happened to Carrie Ellis in the first one. He's like, that guy sucks. He got violently murdered by this tornado. I'm like, did he deserve that? No, but it's a 90s movie. It's fine.
It's karma. That's what happens.
Karma coming around. Exactly. So, all right. What do you think? You got any other spoilerific thoughts on Twisters?
That's it. Simple movie, simple coverage, dude.
You don't want to have any thoughts about how the movie should have ended, in terms of dialogue.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Might be a good final thought for Twisters.
So, I mean, I think the slogan of this movie is if you don't run from your fears, you ride it. Is that what it is? You don't face your fears, you ride them. Is that? Something like that. And
then Glenn Powell's thing is if you feel it, chase it. That's his thing. That's what he does.
If you feel it, you chase it. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the movie, she's leaving. He's like, I don't know what I should do. You know what I mean? I don't know. And she looks at him and she goes, well, if you feel it. And I was like, oh, here it comes. If you feel it, you should ride it. And it was just he should chase it, which means he goes after her
because that would have taken it from the 4. I think maybe to an 8 or 9. Even without some kissing going on, that alone would have been pretty raunchy.
I would have lost it. I would have lost it in the movie theater. I would have thought it was awesome, but it was definitely a missed opportunity. I need to write these things. Yeah. Although I wouldn't have come up with the original slogan, with the you don't face your fears, you ride them. I wouldn't have come up with that.
No.
But
that's why you didn't write Twisters. But maybe they can bring you in for Twisters with 3
Throw
S's.
some innuendo in there, just a pepper,
Yeah,
it's
a little fun with it.
It's like cayenne. You throw a little too much spice in there, it gets too spicy. It's a little overbearing.
Yeah, it can't be too spicy. Yeah. Just a little bit of spice, little sizzle,
especially at the end of the movie, it's safe,
Right. Yeah.
So,
yes, I was going to say Twisters would be my proposed title, but I think I actually had a conversation with Enrique yesterday, and I think we arrived at Twist 3RS. is going to be it's going to have to be the title. Twist 3 RS. I don't think there's any other option that makes sense. So I think that's the way to go. And I'll be mad if it doesn't work out that way. But
that's right up there with Thor 4 Valhalla.
It's right up there. It's right up there. It's not as good, but it's right up there.
Twist 3 RS.
Twist 3ers. Twist 3ers. So anyway, I'd be down for a sequel. How about you?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Low hanging fruit, man. Get it.
Yeah. I think it's going to make enough money that I think it's just a matter of time. And I would be fine bringing. I think if you make a sequel in the next few years, I think it would be a mistake to not bring back these characters. I don't think you need to do another proper standalone sequel where it's just completely to other people. And we're in a different state now, and we do the same thing, but blah blah blah. I mean, I do think the movie, I think, kind of at the end is basically like, they'll never believe that we did this. And it's like, yeah, because we need to have a sequel where twisters are a real threat that we can't just disperse immediately because of the technology that we now have. But I don't know. I'll leave it to the others to figure out, what Twist 3Rs will bring to us. And one final fun fact to offer up. Bill Paxton was not in this movie for obvious reasons, but his son James was. He was the douchebag at the motel who was complaining to the clerk. So there you go.
So Bill Paxton's son.
Bill Paxton's son did make it in here. So
doesn't believe in the tornadoes.
Right. Yeah, he's
that's a shame. He should be the.
Should probably believe him. I think he's dead. I don't think he's going to be in Twist 3Rs. Let's put it that way.
It'd be kind of sad, though. It'd be pretty upsetting if they made. Actual upsetting it would be if you were Bill Paxton's son and you were actually in Twisters, but you couldn't play Bill Paxton's son. You had to get Glenn Powell.
Right, yeah, that would have been the insult. To Andrew is like, we'll bring you in for a cameo, but actually,
Glenn Powell.
Yeah,
Glenn Powell's
Powell,
gonna play you.
He's just got the charisma. He's got that riz. He's just too handsome. Sorry, but it's just that's just Hollywood, baby. So he didn't have to deal with that. Bitter disappointment. That's for sure. So. Oh
man,
Twisters. There you have it. All right. Well, it hasn't been as long since we talked about long legs, but I'd love to hear about what you've been up to since then, or other things you maybe were up to before then that you neglected to mention, perhaps. But yeah, what's going on over in your world?
I watched a movie on Netflix.
Okay.
Did I tell you about this movie on Netflix?
Was it a Netflix movie or a movie that is on Netflix? Because sometimes
I think it's a Netflix movie.
Okay.
It was.
Let's hear it.
Fuck.
It's
about the rock star.
The rock star
that goes. He very much. Reminded me of Dave Grohl.
It's the American Idol guy or the Voice guy, whatever. He's on one of those things. Yes, you did talk about it. Okay. I think we couldn't figure out what the title was. I think we went back and forth on what the hell it was actually called.
Yeah.
But
I did watch that, but I already talked about that, so you already know that I watched that. I started a show called Blue Eye Samurai here at the beginning of the week.
We didn't talk about that. All right.
The show's got it going on.
How far into it are you at this point?
I think I'm through the third or fourth episode.
Okay, so you're probably halfway-ish.
Yeah, it's real good. Highly recommend. I think it's a cool story.
You don't have to recommend it to me.
I think it was recommended by both you and Enrique, wasn't it?
I think Enrique was the first person who recommended it, so he gets full credit. And I watched it. I think it was the last thing I watched before we did our 2023 year in review on it, and I believe it made its way into my top 5 TV shows of the year. So
yeah,
that's how I felt about it.
Pretty spectacular. Yeah. Anyways, so I'm in the middle of that.
Fun, like pseudo, totally different, but like Shogun really gets you in the mood of like fucking feudal Japan type shit.
Yeah.
Here you get like an anime kind of take on it. In a time period that is after the events of Shogun.
It's a little bit like if Kill Bill was an animated feature.
Yeah.
Animated show.
Set in it's 1800s Japan or whatever,
Yeah. It's real cool. I like it. So I'm watching that. We're watching the Olympics. I actually I have the Peacock subscription now. because of the Olympics.
You got the cock. All right.
Yep, got it. And we've watched gymnastics. We've watched gymnastics, male and female gymnastics.
There's been a lot of hoopla about the shooting because there's I think the South Korean woman who's cool, and then there's the Turkish guy who I think got a silver medal, who just showed up in like a fucking t-shirt, no gear or whatever,
hand in his pocket.
Just everyone's like, this dude's fucking John Wick. There's no doubt about it. Like come on.
Yeah, so that's pretty funny. I have seen bits about that. That's okay. It's hilarious. Yeah. But I think all we've watched so far has really just been gymnastics. Gymnastics is just so incredible.
Yeah.
We did watch I watched all the bits of the opening ceremony except the one that's caught all the controversy about Dionysus.
Dionysus, yeah.
Yeah, the wine god and the Last Supper deal or whatever.
It's blasphemous if you don't understand what it's actually intended to be. That I think seems to be the controversy is. I think that this is a thing that is supposed to offend me, so I'm offended. Even though I don't actually understand what it is, but I'm offended still, just in case you couldn't tell. So, yeah,
it was almost the same. And then I had some coworkers send me a thing about apparently there was a boxer. Female boxer that
yes, I think this was today where I think this all unfolded. Yeah,
female boxing, and the Italian competitor backed out in the middle of it. I think she said she got hit. She's like, I've never been hit so hard in my life, and she's like, I'm done. She stopped the fight. She's like, I'm withdrawing. I'm done. And Fox News says that the person that hit her is a man. Well, that doesn't seem right. They wouldn't put a man in there. What's going on here? So you look a little bit deeper, and she isn't a man. And I think just
we've had J.K. Rowling weigh in on this too, and she's obviously the definitive authority on being the worst, having the worst fucking takes on the internet. So whatever she said, just assume that it's the opposite, and that's what actually happened. But
I think I think there's discussions to be had. Valid discussions to be had, right? About, where we are scientifically and the things that can be had in sports and competitiveness. I think there's good, constructive conversations to be had. This is not one of the instances that require a discussion, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Anyways, not to get off in the weeds, I have to say that I really love the Olympics because the vast majority of the time, it's you can get all the nations of the world together and just compete.
It's one of the few times in anything in history where countries can kind of put aside the fact that we are living through horrible global conflicts, and kind of just be let's just appreciate what fucking human beings can do.
Let's just see how fast
the crazy shit, like this guy, or this woman, the most ridiculously fast swimmer, and it's just fucking insane, or the gymnasts alone. So I've been watching Olympics too, so I'll just chime in here and offer my 2 cents as well. The gymnastics alone,
it's nuts,
is the most absurd thing I've ever fucking witnessed. Every time I watch every event, I watch a vault, I'm like, oh my God, that's incredible. The uneven bars might be the part where I'm I'm most blown away of just how the hell any of them can pull this off.
For me, it's the vault when they do the full extended flips, but their bodies are straight and they just go.
It's just, oh my God, it's so fast and it's so nuts. And I'm like, how do you even train to the point where you're comfortable doing that? I don't know if you
how do you train on
the
balance beam? How do you keep from smashing your face when you flip on the balance beam?
And that's the thing, is because I think it was one of the Brazilian women, in warm-ups, did literally smash her face, I think, doing the uneven bars, and she had she wore a bandage over her eyebrow, for the rest of the competition. It's just how are they not doing that all the time? How do you build yourself up to a point where you're not doing that every time? You're no, fuck this, I'm not doing this shit.
I'm Done.
It's the same concept of like, I'm not going to live in Oklahoma. I don't want to deal with fucking tornadoes. I'm not going to be a fucking gymnast. I don't want to smash my face. Like obviously I'm way big, too large and not limber enough for these sorts of things. But for these men and women that do it, it's just
incredible,
absolutely insane. Just the amount of talent and obviously hard work and everything that goes into it. And man, I mean, Team USA delivered. So bringing that gold back. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah,
and so, well deserved too. So,
I did watch the canoeing. They have this canoeing.
I have not seen any canoeing. Okay, that's interesting. I saw that they're doing surfing this year, but it's in Tahiti because can't really do a whole lot of surfing in Paris, which is kind of fun, kind of interesting. But I don't know if they've actually had any surfing events yet.
I wanted to watch the track and field. There's so many events.
There's so many things. I know basketball is going on right now too.
Yeah,
USA 3-on-3 is sucking ass. But I think regular men and women's are doing both doing pretty well. But yeah,
I did watch some skeet shooting, which is pretty cool. I like skeet shooting,
cool.
Shooting clays and stuff. So I have watched that. The reflexes on these people shooting these shotguns is insane. I mean, they're just poof, 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 done, poof, poof, just real quick. Yeah. It's real cool. Like you said, it's all the nations of the world come together and just to celebrate humans,
Totally.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah. And it's nice that it's just like every night it's just something, where you get to just watch, people at the top of their game do something that you are in a million years never going to be capable of. You know what I mean? Just be in awe of these people who man, it's pretty impressive stuff.
It's nuts too, because it's, Sarah was talking about how one of her students is in gymnastics. And she was, she's gonna be up there one day. I was like, well, of all the female gymnasts,
yeah, there's
in all the country,
there's 5 women that go to represent the country.
5 can go.
Right.
It's insane.
5 can go, and one of them usually just sits on the sidelines and was just like, I'll be back in 4 years. Maybe I'll get a chance then.
Right, exactly. So it's incredible. It's real cool. And then you have somebody like Simone who or the swimmer. There's a female swimmer too from the States who just fucking crushes it.
Yeah, Ledecky maybe. Katie Ledecky.
That's her name. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, she's incredible.
So, anyways, that's
Simone Biles though. She's
we did watch
the
Simone Biles thing,
the documentary.
Netflix.
Okay, yeah. Anna was saying that she wanted to watch that, and so we might watch that probably over the next few weeks. I think we're probably feeling a little inspired at this point. I mean, her story particularly, I think, obviously with the Tokyo struggles, and then now bouncing back in a huge way.
Like her childhood really awesome and stuff too. It's just really interesting to hear about. And there was somebody else she was adopted by her grandparents, if I'm not mistaken. And then you hear about other, there's some competitors. I can't remember if it was necessarily the gymnast or just another competitor, period. But, just for you to be, an orphan or adopted or what have you. And then, you just it's movie level stuff, where you just persevere and I mean, you're literally at the top of your game, So anyway, I think the Olympics are just poetically awesome. They're just very cool.
Yeah, and I love that. 2 years we'll get the Winter Olympics. I appreciate those, and just a totally different sort of side of things, but very fun too. So yeah, the Olympics. Nothing like them. Really, just nothing like them out there.
Special thing, man.
So when they do come around, I feel like I always kind of underestimate I don't get excited about the Olympics, but then when the Olympics start happening, I can't just help but, tune in when something's going on. We'll get to it when we talk about my catching up. I haven't done much of anything, It's I've been watching the Olympics. So it's kind of that's kind of what I've been up to for the most part. The opening ceremony was great. I don't know if we really touched on that.
Oh,
Gojira, dude. And
that's the other thing I wanted to talk about, right? Everybody's so... At least where I'm at,
because we talked about the controversy, but not the good parts too.
Everybody's real fixated on the blue guy at the Last Supper, but they're not talking about the beheaded aristocrat in the House of Parliament with the death metal band.
Yeah, fucking Gojira, man.
I think I watched the subtitles of the song. It's we can do whatever we want. We're rich, we'll just hang them. you know, and then like, you know, and they're playing that at the Olympics, but nobody talks about that, you know.
Everyone turned the volume off at that point. Like they hit the mute button. Like, oh, I don't like this. Is that a purple guy? That's offensive. So, yeah, no, Gojira was cool, and Celine Dion, man, oh man,
Celine Dion, dude.
She was incredible.
Nobody talked at all about Celine Dion.
So, yeah, that's something I do have a complaint about is the fucking narration through the opening ceremony. I'm like, I'm sorry, Kelly Clarkson. I'm sorry, Peyton Manning. I do not need to fucking hear you through any of this. But everyone shut the goddamn fuck up when Celine Dion started singing. So at least they had the common decency to do that.
She killed it. Had a little tear in my eye. Oh man, what a performance on top of the Eiffel Tower! Could you imagine?
Yeah, the staging of it all was very, very cool. Going through the Seine, like just the boats and with the athletes and everything, and just the set pieces and everything was fucking cool. Like you said, the Gojira set piece too was just really, really neat. So I feel like I was very impressed
LA,
by the ceremony.
I think 4 years is supposed to be in LA.
Is that what it is? Okay, all right.
Oh, maybe we'll all get together and go watch the Olympics in person.
Could do that. It's a little easier when it's not in Paris, but not that far. But money and all that good stuff, and everyone else in the world trying to do the same thing too. So
they all get inspired and talk about going to the Olympics.
All right. But anyway, 2024 Paris Olympics.
Good stuff.
Good, and I think quite a bit to go. I think gymnastics is pretty close to being done. I don't know. I think all around was the day we're recording. I think there might be something else. I don't know if it's. I don't know. There's other stuff happening. It's not over yet.
All sorts of stuff.
Ain't over yet. So we might come back to it at some point on another episode. We'll see. But yeah. What else? Anything else you've been up to?
Not really. No, that's it. Just magic. That's it.
Like
organizing cards and
close
stuff.
up magic or oh, okay. Like, are you gathering magic in some ways? Is that how you could describe it?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Very good.
They're all organized now. Before there were just cards everywhere. Now they're organized, and I've built a couple decks, and now I'm ready to play some Magic now, which is pretty cool. So
very cool.
Yeah. Right. That's it. That's all I've been up to, dude.
All right. Well, as I said, I have not been up to much of anything besides the Olympics, but I will say. To check back in on my fun fact from the Long Legs episode, just a few days away from closing on first ever house. Less than a week. It's coming up. Everything seems to be on track. Final mortgage approval. So knock on wood, it's going to happen. Everything seems to be lining up.
Dude.
Excited. Ready to be done with the whole home buying process, that's for sure. But very, very excited. We've done a lot of packing, and you can see it, but our listeners can't. That the room behind me, the recording studio, is the staging grounds for boxes that are ready to go. But we still got a few weeks before we will do a proper full move. But we are making preparations, that's for sure. So packing sucks. Moving sucks in general. It's not fun. It's not a fun process, which is probably why you've stayed where you are for a while now, and may very well stay there for a while to come. But yeah, it's exciting but exhausting. So I'm looking forward to being settled in and having everything squared away in terms of documents signed and all that stuff. So yeah, but it's starting to feel real. Let's put it that way.
That's good.
So I'm up to date on House of the Dragon. I know you had maybe some aspirations to start it. I don't know if you ended up doing that, but you've got 7 episodes and an 8th and a finale coming up this Sunday, just a few days from now. So we may talk about it at some point, but you've got some legwork to do, and so I'm not gonna. We've got enough to cover in the imminent span that we might come down, go back to it a little bit later down the road. But I'm liking it so far. I think my general sense is I think season 1 is better, but that's a conversation for another day. I think, and we'll see how the finale goes, and season 2 will be in the books. The other thing I'm watching is season 3 of Claim to Fame. It's the only reality show that I keep up with, although Love is Blind might be added to the rotation at this point. Ann and I might have become victims of it. But Claim to Fame is it's It's a fun show. I don't know if you watched either the first 2 seasons or any of this new season.
I've heard you talk about it though.
Yeah, we brought it up. We binged the first season and then binged most of the second season and then watched, I think, the finale or like the last 2 episodes live. You know, the general premise for anyone that didn't listen to that, doesn't remember, is it's a reality show where like 12 people, I think it's 11 this season, are brought in, live in a house together. They compete in little competitions and stuff where we have to solve puzzles and stuff. And the whole idea is that each of them is related in some way to a celebrity. So as an example, to tie things together, a mild season 1 spoiler, but it's not really a spoiler. Simone Biles' sister is on season 1 of Claim to Fame. And I say it's not a spoiler because if you see her in like the, when they do the fam cam shots in the Olympics where it's just like, and here are her parents and here's her sister looks exactly like her. Like everyone clocks immediately like, oh, you just look exactly like Simone Biles. You must be related to Simone Biles. And indeed, her sister.
So she didn't make it very far, is what you're saying.
Well, maybe not necessarily. But maybe she did better than expected because there's ways to avoid getting voted out. Just because someone knows who you are, you can get immunity, like Survivor style, if you win the challenges and stuff. So I think I don't know if she necessarily won or anything, but she might have done better than you might expect, given how closely she resembles her celebrity relative. But the new season of Claim to Fame. It's fine so far. I think we're 3 in, 4 in maybe. I think we've gotten rid of all the fuckheads. Like there's always, every reality show has people that are fucking annoying on it. And so if you can kind of pare it down to people who aren't so fucking annoying, then it's a lot more enjoyable as an experience. So I think that's kind of where we're at now, is I feel like the rest of the season might be a little more enjoyable because I'm not like, there's no villain. Like there's villains, but they're not like insufferable, shitheads to watch. So
right.
So anyway, Claim to Fame season 3. That's where we get our reality show goodness these days. So it's pretty much it. I watched a lot of other things in preparation for another movie that we saw called Deadpool and Wolverine, but that's a topic for another time. So my catching up is pretty small in this episode. But I should have saved a lot of things from my 30-minute monologue on long legs and kept them here. But hey, you never know. You never know how these things are going to play out. So anyway, I think we can call it there if you're ready.
All right.
Well,
that's it for me.
Thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. We're on Patreon at patreon.com/watch review repeat. You can get early access to all of our regular episodes, such as this one. You can also get timed exclusive access to bonus episodes. So I think, unfortunately, we didn't really talk about this off air, but I think, Deadpool and Wolverine's kind of out already. It's been out for like a week now. We talked about doing an X-Men bonus episode. I think I watched some of it. I only
watched one.
I don't know if so I think at this point we're probably gonna put that in the bin. I think we're probably gonna scrap that idea at this point. It just doesn't make sense, especially with me moving and I'm going on vacation to Vermont in about a week. While some stuff gets done with the house, it's probably not going to happen. It's probably not in the cards. But that's okay. I think what we'll do is we'll talk about X-Men, we'll talk about Deadpool and Wolverine and all that jazz when we talk about Deadpool and Wolverine, because we are going to do an episode on Deadpool and Wolverine. So we can have a little, before we get into the movie, talk about, our experiences with the Fox X-Men stuff. And that way we can at least kind of not have done all that for nothing necessarily, or at least, for more than just, the semi-enjoyment. Like, I didn't watch X-Men The Last Stand because I thought it was going to be fun. I did it because I thought Deadpool and Wolverine might have fun with that movie. And then, because we might talk about it and talk about how shit it is. But we can have that fuller conversation, in smaller levels of detail, maybe on the Deadpool and Wolverine episode. So sorry for anyone that was looking forward to our X-Men coverage. I had grand ideas, grand visions of, we could do X-Men, we can do the Wolverine trilogy, we can do the X-Men First Class, Days of Future Past, we can do all of them, we can do them all. But not happening. We ain't got time for that shit. You definitely don't. I probably did. Now I don't. So it is what it is. So, hey, that's how it goes. But we will do other bonus episodes certainly once I'm settled in, moved in, and all that. I think that we can figure something out. Maybe we'll do a, Beetlejuice one-off type thing, something like that. Keep it simple. Maybe 3 movies at a time is biting off more than we can chew. Maybe that was the problem. That was our undoing, perhaps. But either way, we'll do something. Maybe we'll do something. Our website's watchreviewrepeat.com. We are on the socials at WRRpod on Twitter, facebook.com/watchreviewrepeat and at watchreviewrepeat on Instagram. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, you can send those our way to watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. If you've got something to say, send it our way. If you got some thoughts on maybe The Acolyte, maybe a Deadpool and Wolverine, you want to share those thoughts with us. Don't share them on us. That doesn't sound right.
Same 4DX.
Yeah, that's some 4DX shit right there. We'd love to do a listener's corner on a future episode for sure. So take advantage if you can. Intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. And our next episode, I think will probably be either The Acolyte or Deadpool and Wolverine. I think we are trying to cover both of those separately. My schedule is kind of crazy. Your schedule is just kind of always crazy between work and baby life and all that good stuff. So
we stay busy.
I think we're going to try to record when we can, but don't necessarily expect it to come out in a timely fashion from when we record. I think we're going to try to bank up some episodes of these things that kind of came out around each other in quick succession and kind of drop them throughout August, is kind of the rough game plan. So we're very early in August as of recording this, probably towards the middle of August by the time this is out to the masses. And so that other stuff will hopefully follow, over the next couple weeks from when you're listening to this, or from when this episode goes out, I should say. So that's kind of the rough game plan. We'll figure it out. We've got to figure out timing and, recording availability and all that stuff, and working around all the life schedules and all that jazz. So we'll figure it out. We'll make something happen. We'll make it happen. And we'll be back. We'll be back with something. We'll be back with probably one of those two is what I'll tell you. So, for now, I'm going to say, oh my God, we made an episode under 3 hours. What a concept. And let Andrew take everyone out.
All right. Well, take care now. Bye-bye then.
Later's on the Menjay.